Of course, it's Thursday lunchtime. We talk boxing, and we'll finish talking boxing today with Spencer Oliver, who's back in the news building in London. Spence, here's the thing. Just before we leave the Joshua Dubois conversation, which is part of the full Riyadh season card on September the 21st at Wembley, one thing stands out for me in this is that it proves that despite Saudi Arabian involvement, great British boxing bouts can still indeed remain getting made on British soil. And that's important because we're talking Wembley, aren't we?
Absolutely. And listen, it's hugely important. And I think that is, you know, the vision of the Riyadh season and Turkey Al-Sheikh wanting to bring fights not just in Saudi Arabia, but wanting to deliver the fights. You know, we got one, Terence Crawford is boxing against Makhmudov August the 3rd out in LA as well. So he wants to take the Riyadh season globally. And I think that, you know, the investment of Saudi Arabia has been a bonus for boxing fans. As Jack Cattrall said there, you know, for boxing fans, the politics are now being taken out of it. All the promoters are now working together. It was quite strange seeing all the promoters. We had Wasserman there. Yesterday we had obviously Queensbury in Frank Warren. We had Eddie Hearn there as well. Ben Shalom was there. Seeing them all working together is beneficial for the sport of boxing and for the fans to get the fights that you want to see, and that is down to the Riyadh season and Turkey Al-Sheikh.
Yeah. I mean, it's good, Simon. It's the first time Wembley's hosted boxing since 2022.
Yep. It's a fight that reflects the magnitude of the opportunity. I mean, it's interesting. It's being made with Saudi money, so it's not a glowing endorsement of British boxing because it's not self-financing. But bottom line, we're getting the fight, the fights. The interesting thing is, at some point, the economics of boxing are going to be affected. And I tell you the reasons why I make this observation, because right now it's brilliant. Every single fight is being made irrespective of the costs. You're getting people fighting for belts, getting £1 million purses that they would never have gotten before at the weight class that they're in. At some point, I wonder if the Saudis are going to want to have some commercial viability behind it. And at that point, we'll see how long it goes on for. But right now, in the here and now, at this moment in time, fights are being made, opportunities are being created. And I like some of the thinking that the Saudis have got. I still have concerns. I still think that they're using sport for their own motivations. I still think they shouldn't be beyond criticism if we feel that the events need to be criticised, because we would criticise Madison Square Garden, or we would criticise Las Vegas or Wembley if a fight wasn't producing the kind of atmosphere that we think it should. I think they should be able to accept those sort of things if they're fair.
Yeah.
But all in all, you have to suggest that what's happening at this moment in time, and with their thinking around new events and new formats, I think it will liven people up. But it will amuse me greatly if the Saudis continue with their assault and suddenly decide that they want to sign all the fighters to their own promotional companies, and then Eddie and Frank will be sitting on an empty stage without any fighters.
No, that would be good. Spencer, I mean this, mate. You're a great advocate that your sport is clean. I've always admired you for that. You really call for boxing to be a clean sport, and those who don't adhere to that to be punished accordingly. So keen to get your reaction in the final throes of today to this. Ryan Garcia handed a 1-year ban from boxing. New York State Athletic Commission after failing that drugs test. He tested positive for a banned substance in 2 separate tests taken before his fight with Devin Haney on April the 20th. But Spencer throwing the book at him, and I want to get your take on this. His win over Haney is now recorded as a no contest, meaning Haney's undefeated record is restored, as well as the ban. Garcia forfeits his $1.2 million contract purse from the fight, and he's got to pay a $10,000 fine. He's coming out of this in the way that I think people like you and others think he should come out of it, punished severely.
Well, I don't think the punishment's enough, if I'm totally honest, Jim. I think a 1-year ban is a disgrace, if I'm totally honest. You know, the guy has failed test, and Osterine was now been found in his system as well, another banned substance, and I just think it's totally wrong. Interestingly, I've done a podcast, actually, Talk Boxing, with Simon Swanning around there over in Germany. We had Frank Warren in this week, and Frank was very strong on it as well. He said, listen, he goes, you know, I don't think the punishments are enough for the boxers that get caught doing drugs. You know, the punishment should be a lot heavier than that. It shouldn't be a 1-year ban. That is a bit of a disgrace. It should be a lot heavier than that, you know, because it gives a chance. It's just the temptation is there for the fighters then. You look at it and you go, listen, is it just a fighter that knows about it? All the people that are in and around them, do they they know about it as well. They must know something is going on. We need to clean up the sport. I think a 1 year ban is not enough, Jim. You know, he's walked away scot-free. He probably have that little rest now, and they'll go into a rematch and then another big bag of money. I mean, forget that it sounds like a lot of money that he's been fined, but he probably walked with $50 million from that fight. So when you look at it on the landscape of it, I think it's a disgrace.
I think Spencer's right. I think there's a desire to sharpen up and effectively consequence fighters more significantly. So getting a 1 year ban from somebody that's got a social media following that would have developed and given him commercial opportunities far greater is incidental. And I think it's right. I think Frank also said on the conversation that he had with Spencer about the consequences to those around him. It's impossible that fighters and their trainers don't know what's going on with one another.
But you know, Simon, the statement from Garcia's legal team, I mean, what do you make of this, Spencer? Talk about giving the two fingers up to authority. Garcia's legal team say Ryan Garcia beat Devin Haney, and this result will never be erased from the public and media. What do you think of that, Spence?
Again, I think it's a disgrace. You know, he's beaten him, but unfairly. He's had, you know, he took performance-enhancing drugs. You know, so I'm glad that they've wiped that loss off Devin Haney's off his record, because they deserve to wipe that loss off it. He done it by cheating, and that is a disgrace. And a 1 year ban is a disgrace. Throw the book at them, ban them. You know, I think that they need to look at this and need to come down harder, because these minimal bans and these small fines in the grand scheme of things and the money that they're earning is just enticing them to go to try it more. You know, a 1 year ban is like, you know, it's just fighters have 1 year out sometimes when they can't get fights made. That's the reality of it. So don't, you know, I think it's a disgrace.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.